Alright, hey you guys. First and foremost, I would like to thank Rebecca and Sarah. Sarah, thank you so much for sending pictures of your text to Rebecca. And Rebecca, thank you for sending that text to me. God bless you, ladies. You are amazing. So I'm terrible at doing these videos. So I have everything written down that I want to say. And I'm going to try to take my time to say it so that I don't speed through it, which I tend to do at times. So Dr. Randall posed this all too familiar question and dilemma that we as teachers sometimes face. And that is, well, I planned it, I taught it, I don't know why they're not getting it. And I think the real question is here, how did we teach that information? Did we simply stand in front of the classroom, get excited about our content, pour all of our knowledge out onto our students on the standard in question, and expect them to take notes as we did so? Or did we let them explore the content for themselves and divulge a vested interest in the material, and let them take ownership of their own education? Did we provide them with that opportunity? According to Beam and Pinkie, there are 6 different types of curriculum. You have planned, implemented, hidden, traditional, individualized, and open. Planned curriculum is what a teacher actually plans to accomplish in the lesson, what he or she is teaching. Next, you have implemented curriculum, what the teacher actually covers when carrying out his or her plans. Planning has always been my problem. When I was a first-year teacher, I underplanned. I didn't plan enough. I thought 90 minutes, oh, I got all this stuff. I'll never get to it all. I did my first year teaching, and it was a classroom conundrum disaster. Classroom management, bleh. Yeah, it was terrible. And then my mentor told me that when you fail to plan enough, you plan to fail. She told me that block to block, bell to bell instruction was the only way that I was going to hone my classroom management skills. And she was right. So the problem I now have is over planning. A lot of the activities and reinforcement ideas I don't actually always get to, because I try to stick with my pacing guides and all that good stuff for the county so that I don't fall behind. The last set of curriculum that we are going to discuss for our purposes is hidden curriculum. That's the curriculum that just happens as a result of teaching, that's not planned, kind of like discussions, or anything that arises spur of the moment. In my classroom, these are often recaps. In World History 1, civilizations tend to build on one another, and if students don't have a solid understanding of the foundational civilization, they sometimes have trouble understanding civilizations that follow. So a perfect example of this, to reiterate on what I talked about before, or not before I did this video, but in another post on Bloom's taxonomy, monotheistic religions. A perfect example I have is if students don't understand how Abraham fits into the Islam puzzle, I often do a recap of Judaism and how Abraham's the founder, and then how Judaism leads to Christianity, and then how Christianity then pours into Islam, because Muslims believe that Jesus is a prophet, but they do not believe that he is the Son of God, unlike Christians. So that is just an example. So they have to make those connections. They can see through those recaps, and things just start moving. With all this curriculum mumbo jumbo, how can we ensure that we are actually assessing and teaching the information the students need to know? Well, number one thing I can tell you to do is backwards design. This became a total game changer for me in my teaching during my second year of teaching. When planning what I would teach, I started with making my test. I had my curriculum framework in one hand and the mouse on PowerSchool assessment and analytics in the other hand. And I would develop my assessments that required students to use higher level thinking and reasoning skills while placing about 20 to 30% of the questions on the exam as factual or recall information. I would teach the material is what I would plan next. How am I going to get the students to be able to answer those higher level thinking skills? What primary sources are we going to look at? What political cartoons are we going to look at? What am I going to be able to give the kids for them to use and take that information with them and use those higher level thinking skills? Secondly, I would always suggest utilizing your pacing guide. Pacing guides are in place for your benefit, and please excuse my dog. So, if you know you only have 3 days to teach a subject, make sure that discussions, if they are not useful to instruction, that you kind of just move away from them. Those spur of the moment things that happen, make sure that you kind of limit those things so that you are reinforcing the material, you are getting to what you've got to get to, and you are doing it in the time it takes. He's so weird. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. And finally, determine what your students didn't get through. Determine what they don't understand. That is through the use of continual formal assessments, formative assessments. This can be in the form of bell ringers, KWL charts, I'm sorry, he's getting me all off focus because of his spinning. Entrance and exit tickets, those kind of things are always awesome, and building on what your students know, going back over what they don't understand, and making sure you're really hitting everything. Not all things that you do to gauge where students are have to be graded. So don't get that in your head, because that's really, I think, where a lot of teachers fall behind. Oh, I got to give this quiz, see where they are. I got to give this, see where they are. You can go in your classroom every day and see where your students are, what they took from yesterday's lesson, what we can build on today, just through discussions, bell ringers, and little quick things that you do at the beginning of your instruction. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope you got something from it besides my dog moving around in the background. And again, thank you, Sarah and Rebecca. Love you guys. All right, you guys have a great one.